You know, everybody who saw this story thought to themselves, wait a minute, if I've got things in the cloud, does that mean that I am vulnerable more so than I thought I was than before? And you say?
Well, here's what I would say about cloud computing. It doesn't really exist. There is no such thing as the cloud. A good friend of mine has a really good description of the cloud, which is somebody else's computer. So is my stuff safe on somebody else's computer? Well, it depends upon whose computer that I'm actually storing it on.
Well, how safe is the iCloud versus others?
Well, I think that's the irony with cloud computing is, we don't really know because we don't have transparency with cloud computing. In other words, it's not like we can walk down to the data centers and actually have a look as to how secure they are. For this particular breach, however, the two schools of thought are that they compromised the accounts of the celebrities by what they call brute forcing, which is trying to guess the password, or the other theory is that they used what they call phishing or spear phishing attacks, where they coerced them into giving up their password. So it's not really, if we believe those two schools of thought, it's not really a vulnerability within iCloud, but it's potential manipulation of the celebrities themselves.
Well, I was going to say, does this sound like a pretty, in the general scheme of things, Raj, a pretty simple hack?
Well, from what it looks like, absolutely, yes.
Okay, so are the victims, I hate to blame the victim, but are the victims partly to blame? Perhaps they just didn't update their passwords enough, or they didn't create enough simple firewalls to keep these hackers out?
So actually what the spear phishing emails nowadays, at McAfee we're seeing more complex attacks. So the social engineers, what they do is they try to sort of tap into the subconscious of why we give up information. And we've got a white paper coming out later this month just talking about, how they basically manage to manipulate us into giving up our data or to clicking onto a link. And, the sad reality is many of us and many people today are just all too willing to sort of be trusting on the internet or to click onto links or click onto shortened links. And, hopefully people will wake up to that, I think.
So bottom line then, Raj, is any information safe online?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Bottom line, is any information safe online, or do you have to always keep in mind that it could one day be vulnerable?
Well, there is no such thing as 100% security, and I don't think there ever will be. But I think each and every single one of us have to take responsibility. We talk about due diligence, but we need to have a degree of due diligence about where we store our data or what we do with our information. And the iCloud, and whether it's on email or whether it's texting or WhatsApp or whatever it is, we need to start to take measures ourselves to really just ask the question of, well, what are you going to do with my data? How are you going to secure the data? Just asking these simple questions is really important.